Hey there, it's Ben from Pattern Profits bringing you the weekend update and weekly watch list for the week of January 31st. Starting with IWO, we zoomed out this week to the weekly view. Usually I share the daily view of this, but we're going to zoom out this week kind of in no man's land here. Anchored VWAP off of the COVID low below that 226.23 level I noted below. So kind of in no man's land there. Not a lot of volume down here as well. If we do the same and zoom out on FFTY, our other proxy for growth, that did hit that level 37.12 I had marked. And you notice how you had this kind of window in here where there wasn't much volume, and this kind of the next level. But whether to see if that's a pause or a bounce, roll back over, or if this becomes a more meaningful low, we'll just have to wait and see how it plays out. Also interesting, PDP, the momentum ETF that we take a look at, that one's still holding this anchored VWAP off of the COVID low. You're still holding that level. The others slice through, but this one holding. So logical level for this to find a little support bounce. We'll just have to see what type of upside progress it can make. And then you have year-to-date anchored VWAP, another volume shelf, anchored VWAP off of the high. So again, logical level to find support for a bounce. We'll just have to see how they act. Getting into the watch list, I definitely think need to keep an eye on Apple and how it acts around the 50-day. Let me get my daily indicators on here. And this, I used handoff method here. Swing low here, where it tags, another anchored VWAP there. That swing low, if we zoom out, this again is the daily chart. But thought maybe we were coming down lower to this level. Then it had the good response to earnings. Now we'll kind of zoom in on the more recent action. I'm going to put volume by price right there at the breakout, and then kind of zoom in here. So based on that handoff anchored VWAP, you are moving below kind of a bear flag look to this, and then great reaction to earnings and the bounce back above 50 MA cloud. This red line here, year-to-date anchored VWAP, and you're back above 1020 cloud as well. Do have volume shelf just above. That's around 172. So we'll have to see if it makes continued upside progress, if it can push through there. But you've got good volume here, both on the low and pocket pivot volume as you come back through the 50-day. So I think Apple definitely worth keeping an eye on for tech. Outside of that, a couple of drug makers, Pfizer kind of looks like it's ready to potentially try to turn up the right side. Volume shelf, point of control, kind of right where it closed. Year-to-date anchored VWAP, that red line, and you have a descending trend line, multiple touches there. So if you can push through there, back above 1020.50, and then just watch that anchored VWAP from off of the high. But if you can get out of the pinch there, it looks like Pfizer may be able to come up the right side. The thing about this one, too, is it's not the only one in the group that's setting up or looking good. ABBV has already made good progress. And I was looking at Bristol Myers, too. BMY, these more defensive. But this certainly cup with a handle pattern, 65.85, the pivot there. Looks like it's coming through that trend line too, back above 1020 cloud. You've got year-to-date anchored VWAP right there too that you pushed above. Got good volume in there and have seen some options call flow, heavier call flow in some of the drug maker names. So definitely could push through that 65.85. Just keep an eye on what the volume looks like to help guide there. Outside of the drug makers, MA, great day on Friday. Visa, American Express, they all looked good. But let me zoom out a little bit more with this. 382.50, the standard pivot there. You can see how it pushed through. Year-to-date anchored VWAP, volume shelf, point of control, push through there. Again, good volume, multiple days of good volume on the way up. So now just looking for a push through 382.50. As I zoom out, you'll see all-time high up there, 401.50 above. So a push through 382.50 on good volume. Then you look for that run back to those all-time highs. Outside of that, AMR in coal. Another one kind of setting up nicely. Let me move this back over. It tried to go, and we'll zoom back in. Cup with handle pattern. This cup pattern didn't really have a handle. You're putting one in now, right up against year-to-date anchored VWAP and anchored VWAP off of the high. If you can push above there, reclaim that 1020 cloud, you're already back above the volume shelf, back above point of control. So 69.28 above would be the pivot reclaim. But I like to get involved in these early when possible, especially this nice little tight consolidation. You come out above there, above anchored VWAP off the high, above year-to-date anchored VWAP, back above 1020. That may give an early entry opportunity. Ahead of that pivot, we see bigger volume come in. Again, strong group, AMR and coal, very hot. Speaking of strong groups, GSL in the shipping group, Global Ship Leasing. And this one, when you see this kind of head and shoulders pattern here that was forming, left shoulder, head, right shoulder, started to break down. And our buddy Brian Shannon, Alpha Trend, says, you know, when the false move leads to a fast move, and I think that's what you got here, was that false breakdown, and then quickly it didn't confirm to the downside, recovered, and then off to the races back to the upside. You've now pushed above what was the potential right shoulder. So now you have 26.51, the high, standard pivot above, and you see this good volume coming in now again. So I'd keep an eye on that. Again, the shippers have been hot. ZIM, DAC, EGLE. There's a bunch of them that have been acting very well. So 26.51, the standard pivot there on GSL. Another one with very good numbers looking forward. And it wouldn't be the weekly watch list without throwing in some oil and gas. Another one setting up, cup with handle pattern 47.23 standard pivot. This is Matador, which pushed above the volume shelf point of control. Inside day there, looking for that inside day to come out to the upside, get you in early ahead of that 47.23 standard pivot. You're above all clouds and relative anchored VWAPs. That's all I have into tomorrow. Hope you have a great trading week, and I'll see you over on FinTwit.